right, guys. Oh, feeling the energy in my throat today. Just gonna make sure that it's live and you can all see me. And hello, beautiful. If you're joining me, just say hello and let me know, where are you watching from in the world? Oh, okay, perfect. Hi, beautiful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, if you're coming into this sacred space, beautiful, welcome. What's your name, my love? Oh, darling ones. Okay, so just so you know, I'm going live on Instagram and also in my group, the Siren Goddess Collective on Facebook. The group actually gets a replay, but if you're on Instagram, you don't. So if you want to watch this on a replay, you're very welcome to join the collective. It's the link in my bio, okay? Hi, beautiful. Okay, so, oh my goodness. First and foremost, happy full moon. Today's full moon is actually in Capricorn, and I am in Edinburgh right now, so probably a couple of you have already experienced the full moon wherever you are right now. Um, I am I am actually recuperating from a little unwell week, really, really unwell actually. But I'm actually really, really grateful because I've been able to kind of bounce back a lot quicker than usual. And even held a ceremony for one of my clients. But then after that, I really, really felt the effects, and I knew that my body just really needed the rest, and so I allowed myself to rest. And today, with the Capricorn moon, oh my goodness, guys, like, are you all feeling the energy? If you are, just let me know. Like, just say yes, yes, yes. Because it really is something that is coming up so strongly for me, with a message itself saying that we have to come back to our bodies, be so patient with our bodies, coming back into a space where perhaps it goes against the grain to be slowing down. And with the full moon, we all know that the full moon is a time for manifestations to come through. And it's all good, but Capricorn is also a sign that really, really asks of patience. And I know this because I have a sun sign in Capricorn. I was born on the 29th of December. And as a Capricorn, I have a real tenacity for staying on. Like I have determination, I do things and I can do it for a long time. I can fail many, many times and I can keep going. That's one of the things that I feel like I haven't seen as my strength for the longest time until I actually saw it as my strength. Hello. Oh my goodness. I love your name, by the way. Miracle Whale Portal. How amazing is that? Hi, Lisa. Hi, Karen. Oh my gosh. I love that everyone is here. It's been a while. Oh my goodness. The live is stopping several times. Is everyone having a connection problem? Can you let me know? Can you just let me know, guys, um, if you're seeing me properly, or if you're seeing this like, breaking up. Like, is the connection breaking up, guys? Can you let me know? Yes, I've woken up after a cancer nap. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, Karen says no. So Lisa, maybe you could just go out and pop back in. I would love to have you here, but I guess I'll just keep going, since there are no other people saying that there is a problem. And to be honest, I'm sitting right next to my Wi-Fi, so it should be okay. So today I really wanted to come on here, also because I was talking about Capricorn. It is absolutely related because Capricorn itself is also ruled by the planet Saturn. And Saturn is very much about, your ancestors, the father figure, the family, the structures, right? And don't let's not forget that, yes, thank you for bringing this in. We are also in the realms of Cancer, and Cancer is such a nurturing mother. So we have the mother and the father together here today, really shining the light. And one thing I really want to bring into this space today is the fact that I truly, truly, truly wanted to share my story about really coming into ownership and coming into a space of empowerment when it comes to my own family stories and generational wounds and what is known as ancestral wounds out in the world that we, if you're in healing, if you're into mysticism, you probably have heard a lot about that, right? But what if, and I just want to bring this to you right now, what if there is nothing to forgive? Oh, perfect, Lisa. Perfect. Good to have you here. Okay, no connection problems, guys. Awesome. So, yes, I just posed a really big question, right? Like, what if there is nothing to forgive? And I'm just gonna pause for a moment here so that you can kind of take that in to your body. Like, really close your eyes so that your biggest sensorial organ is kind of closed away as you really turn inward and ask yourself, what if there has never been and will never be anything that I need to forgive? That includes yourself, that includes everyone else in your life, right? What if that is your truth? What if I could learn a way of living where I didn't have to forgive? For me, it's been incredibly empowering when it came to owning that there is nothing I need to forgive, because it really freed me from really moving in this space of like always needing to cut cords and forgive and all these things, right? And I'm not saying that they are not valid, because they are. At some stage in your life you've probably done it, and usually it's at a very early on of your path to really unveiling your magnificence, to really coming into your soul purpose, right? Miracle Whale Portal says, I had a huge night of ancestral and father healing around my Chiron, and also abundance healing at the same time, and I feel what you're saying, huge heart opening. Yeah, I mean, I think there is a lot here going on where I'm trying to put things into words, but my energy honestly is speaking on its own, and I can't really stop it at this point. But if you feel that, thank you for acknowledging that, because I really wanted to come in here and really share this story with you with full heart. The things that really came into my mind today is that, when we talk about ancestral wounds, we always talk about how we are carrying these things that we find really shameful and perhaps even guilty of. If you don't know my story, I grew up actually feeling intensely shameful of my own upbringing and my own skin color and my own nationality, everything about me. I never really loved myself or ever saw myself growing up. And I think it goes a lot to say, if I think back on why that is, well, first and foremost, we had to really survive. My parents, they came from really destitute families. My dad, he grew up in a cottage, like literally like a house made of like completely like ramshackle, where his father had to go to a factory and he was paid like a daily rate, and his mom was a housewife who, because she couldn't study. Like, women were not given education opportunities. That's just how it is with Chinese families at that time. And both of my grandparents on both sides were actually the first immigrants who came through from China. They took a boat, literally, and they were refugees who just arrived in Malaysia. And they tried to set up and make a living completely in a foreign land. And what resulted in that is that, they lived in real poverty, even on both sides. Both of my grandparents, my dad, has his story. And my mom, she also came from a really, really, really poor family where my grandfather was a clerk and working at some factory as a clerk, and then my grandmother was also, she didn't have education. Like, she didn't have the opportunity, and the opportunity for education always went to the son in the family. So growing up, I always knew that it was a vastly different environment when we came about. I was deeply loved because I was the eldest child in the entire family. I was actually the firstborn, newborn in that generation, and so a lot of attention was given to me in that sense. And I remember when, there are these memories that I have when I was actually in the womb that I can actually remember, where I remember this feeling, oh, I get shingles, like little tingles when I think about this, where it comes to a point where I knew that I was bringing peace into the family when I was born. And it's something that I've always been told when I was growing up. They would say to me, like, if you weren't born, your grandparents would probably have murdered each other. Or like, my parents would be like, if you weren't born, then we would probably wouldn't have lasted this long, or whatever it is, right? And so I was a real big ball of sunlight. And I really say this because, and I don't say it in a way like, yeah, I was like a savior of my family. I'm not saying it like that at all. I'm saying that because I really did come into the world just really being who I am, and just like, yep, I'm here, I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna dance, I have all these videos of me doing that, right? And I was given that stage to really do that, to do all these things, to sing and dance, and people loved that and enjoyed that and made them happy, right? And then it came to a point in my life that I started to take on the things that I was witnessing around me. I realized that my parents are always working. They're always working, they're never home. And when they're home, they're actually also working. I remember my mom on the laptop all the time. And my dad wasn't hardly ever home because he would always be on, like sales jobs and stuff like that, where he has to travel all around the world. And eventually he had to move out of the country to live in a totally different country to work. And my mom became like almost like a single mother, raising me and my sisters. But it's not to say that he was never present. He was always so present in me that I actually felt closer to my dad than to my mom, who was physically there. So just talking about it just chokes me up sometimes, because I had a really, really profoundly wounded relationship with my mom for a long time. Growing up, I think I can remember maybe from the age of like 14, I really, really hated my mom for so long. Like I remember feeling that I never got the love that I needed, and all she did was just to throw money at me. That was why I remember. It's like, oh, she's upset, throw money at her. Oh, why aren't you why aren't you happy? You've got everything in your life. And that's what she will always say to me, like, you get this, you get that, you get toys, you get everything. Why aren't you appreciative? Like, why aren't you grateful? Like, that was what I was growing up with. And oh, that's beautiful, my love. That's the same story too, huh? Yeah. So, in a way, for her, growing up, she didn't have money. And for her, happiness really meant having the money to buy whatever you needed in your life. But when it came down to me and my sisters, the narrative started to shift, because now we know that, coming into this world, we had the comfort, we had the privilege of having those things taken care of. And and my mom was only going by the things that she knew to give us the happiness that we could get ever. And because she was also raising us on her own, without my dad really being physically around most of the time, it's hard to really, sometimes I look back and I just think that, wow, she's fucking amazing, because man, like, it's a lot of work to raise children. And the second thing is that, to be a full-time director, like a marketing director at a company. It's like, she's chasing her own dreams as well. She's making her career work while also having the family that she needs to raise on the side. So growing up, I witnessed all these things, and it became ingrained in me, actually unconsciously, that I needed to really work really, really, really hard to have what I want in my life. And that became an ancestral wound. It became an ancestral wound because it's continuously indoctrinated into me that I have to work really hard, and that I cannot for a minute, ever take my eye off the prize, because if I do, then someone else will come along and take it from me. Okay, can you see where I'm getting at with this? The scarcity wounds that really go so deep in us because of the conditioning, the programming that was given to us when we were really young. And it doesn't even have to start at 1 year old. It can be just as potent when you were 7 years old or 14 years old. Whatever it is that started to happen, like something happened and it started to come into your subconscious. And there is this mechanism in us that kind of shuts the trapdoor and locks it, and that dissonance continues to vibrate there. Like it just continues to be there, right? So we are continuously excavating all these dissonances throughout our lives. And if you do the work to do this, trust me, you are absolutely on the way to living on purpose. You're on the pathway to continue to uncover your soul purpose. And the work doesn't end until you take your last breath. I always say that. But, to be honest, if we go even further, your Holy Ghost is still there. It doesn't end. It never ends. But what we are here to do is to change the narratives. Because if we continue to talk about, healing the ancestral wounds, it's important to acknowledge that, yes, but what about the ancestral strengths? What about the ancestral spirits that are here to guide us and, in fact, to remind us of our true magnificence, our wholeness? And I'm just going to take pause here because the Miracle Wheel Portal is saying, you had a clearing yesterday that I have to work hard to be worthy of my dad's sacrifice, having to leave family. Yeah, exactly. I definitely grew up with that for our longest time. I thought as the eldest child, I have to be the best. I have to bring in the bacon. Like I have to take care of the rest in the family, and I have to take care of my parents. And what would other people say if I left my job and started doing the work that I'm doing here right now as a ceremonial keeper and a divine energy alchemist, and also what I call a sacred transformation mentor, right? Like people don't get it. People don't, because it's not something that is commonly seen just yet in this 3D world, right? But the most important thing here is that I really, really realized is that the minute I got what I am, like I understood who I am, and I started doing the work that I am doing just with wholeheartedness, like just saying, yeah, that is me. Like there are no other ways around it. Like, I'm not gonna go do a full-time job and this is gonna be my side gig. Like, no, that's not even an option, right? That is when I started to see everything in my reality change. And it's so true because the reality that was reflected back began with my mom coming to my ceremony, no fucking clue what I do, but she said she wants to help. And after the ceremony, I remember she said to me, like girl, like I don't know what you're doing, but I know it's important and I will support you no matter what. And that is her way of supporting me. And she's been really, really, really been hyping up my work in her own way to everyone in her life. And then there are those who really come into my vortex, and I call them my sisters, like really, really backing me and sharing my work and just recommending my work to people, and that is truly beautiful because we are now living in a realm, in a vortex where the reality is that there are so much abundance. Like, we don't need to fight over each other's clients to be in this whirlpool of abundance and share the joys, and the sacred work that we do is here to help others. You know, I've truly moved from a place of toxic, gossiping and just all these things where women bash each other and try to pull each other down. I've really moved from there into a place where I'm doing the work in devotion and cultivating a service that is truly here to share the truth that everything is happening in your favor. And that is empowering because now you know that everything in your life is just a reminder nudging you towards your own magnificence. And I just want you to take this moment again to just take this, the question I asked at the beginning, like, what if I could learn a way of living where I didn't have to forgive anymore? Like, just take that in, because you do have the power to access your wholeness in this moment. Like, miracles are all around you. And working with your ancestral strengths will really help you to come into a space where you understand that they were doing the best they could at that time. And yes, on the surface, it would look like I forgave them. On the surface, it would seem like I forgave my ancestors. I forgave them for their wrongdoings. I forgave all the ancestors that I knew and I didn't know, for all the trespasses. And I pray for their strength. I pray for their intuitive guidance, right? It will look like that on the surface. But what if I told you that if you truly live in a way where you know that you don't have to forgive anything in this world, and it frees you in order to live in an empowered and unified field, you know what's going to happen? It's going to be like sitting in ceremony. It's going to be like sitting in ceremony with all your ancestors. It's going to be like sitting in ceremony with your future generations. It's front and back, left and right. It's energy harnessing all around you. And this is what it means to reconnect with all of you, your whole being, your entire being. And the work that I'm talking about truly is about reconnecting the mind and your body and your spirit together and anchoring them in one place, which is your own body. That is where you access portals and gateways. That is where you access your ancestral strengths. That is where you truly come into your own power, because now you're seeing all of you. Do you get where I'm going with this, guys? I know it can be really deep. I know it can go really full on sometimes. But what I want you to understand is that, you can go into a lot of things. Like, there are lots and lots of ways to discover your magic, to go out there to be of service. But if you don't heal, if you don't witness and hold space for your own wounds, they're just gonna keep magnifying and amplifying until there is no way, nowhere else you can turn but to really confront them. That is what I'm trying to avoid for you, to prevent for you, because when it comes to that stage, usually it manifests as physical illness. Usually it manifests as really toxic relationships that are created in your life, because you are a creatrix. All of us are creators. We create the version we want to live. And so I always say this: if you believe that it will take time for you to live on purpose, if you believe that it will take time, or that, I need to make this amount of money before I start investing in this, then yes, that will be your reality, because that's your belief. You create what you believe. It is as simple as that. right? Thank you. Oh, my love. I would love to know what your real name is. I know Miracle Whale Portal sounds amazing. Miracle Whale Portal says it's amazing. It's what I'm coming through. A lot of diamonds found in the ancestral healing and huge heart opening in abundance. Thank you for sharing Voice of Truth. Yeah, thank you, my love. I mean, I love the word ancestral healing, but I also think that, if you know my work, healing is really just ascension of consciousness. It's not fixing something that is broken or repairing or whatever it is. It's really about ascending your consciousness, your state of consciousness to the next level. And all of us are continuously doing that. You are all universes. You are just as magnificent and mystifying as the universe. So there is limitless potential, limitless. And you're continuously expanding. There's no exception to this. So what we need to do, and you will understand this if you look at the universe, every expansion is followed by an anchoring. It needs to anchor in that new expansion in order to proceed to the next expansion. So as a human being, we have to anchor in our expansion as well. I'm really, one thing I'm so on mission about is that I don't want to see another healer or mystic or whatever you call yourself, right? Psychic, medium. I don't want to see another one who has some immense sacred gift and go and waste it because she doesn't know how to land. You can't share your gifts fully when you are still living in a way where you're obstructing yourself and holding yourself back and sabotaging yourself. It's one of those things where there will be people who will talk shit about your stuff, right? For example. And if that is something you're not prepared for and you're not anchored in and you're not embodied about your gifts, then that will completely shut you down. And that's it. There's another star deemed. There goes another starlight. And we need you. We all need your work. We need your power. We need you here to stand guard. Because your power is too beautiful and important to waste. So whether you do this work of, sharing sacred medicine, or whether you are an artist, whether you are a writer, everything about you is medicine. Everything. Energy medicine is you, right? I work with sacred plants, right? I work with tea spirit in specific. I work in ceremony because ceremony to me brings to life the healing that needs to happen. And in ceremonies, people are very, very open-hearted. That is when things become limitless. When you're open-hearted and you bring in that vision that you hold for yourself and you allow yourself to drop in, that is when miracles begin to happen quickly. I have a client, she wrote to me and said, in just 1 month, things have changed so vastly. And she's thanking me and appreciating me. But what I really want you to know is that the reason why that has happened for her is because she was really ready. She was ready to open up to all the possibilities that are coming through, to come in with the beginner's mind, to come in with heart and service, to come in with faith. And I remember Karen, oh my gosh, you literally read my mind. I just, she came in, my client, she came in and I asked her, what made you take the leap? And she said that she wanted to live in faith instead of fear. That is the one thing that kept her going. And she took the leap. She invested that 4-figure amount that needed to bring her to where she is right now. And I have no doubt she's going to create her witch coven soon. She's going to be creating amazing work. And she's doing the work to become a responsible ceremonial keeper with me as well, working with Tea Spirit. And so I want you to know that anything is possible and it can happen so quickly if we allow it. If we continue to allow our ancestral wounds to hold us back, if we blame the mom or the dad or the grandma, the grandpa, or whatever, we are not going to go anywhere far. We really won't. So if you catch yourself saying things like, I can't do that because my nationality is this, or like, I can't do that because my grandpa had this DNA and whatever, I just want you to know that that's not true. It's going to keep you small until you don't allow it to. Okay? So, Karen, I'm just going to read what you're saying. Yeah, you have definitely experienced that before, having to anchor in complete self belief, trust, and faith in my gifts. Yes, 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 yes. It's so important. And I know that, going back to what I was saying about really clearing the subconscious blocks and really getting down into that beautiful space where we finally confront our dragons, right? They say. But I love that saying, but I also, in my culture, dragons are actually really, really powerful creatures and mythical creatures that we love to ride on. So I'm not sure if that's going to be valid, but what I'm trying to say is that yes, it can get scary for us to go into those parts where we are fearful of, or that we have rejected for a long time and don't want to look at. But as long as you come with that open heart, like I said, with like my client, being open, being like, fuck this shit, I'm not gonna live in hiding anymore. You being held in a safe space like this is going to help you to gain momentum very, very quickly. Please know this, because there will be irresponsible people who hold, like, I don't know, ceremonies, like plant medicine ceremonies, and then they leave you flying in the wind. And you are like, oh my God, like, how do I deal with the remnants of the emotions that are coming up, right? So that is why I designed the Siren Goddess in a way where you are being held in 3 months, and you're going to be walked through all the procedures to unveil those things that are coming up, and how you're going to move with them and anchor in the new embodied version of who you really are. That is also why, guys, if you haven't seen it yet, I have a VIP 2-day retreat called Rebirth. And I actually included a chat on Telegram 3 weeks after the 2 days, because I really know that it does take time to anchor in. Like the subconscious release, clearing, all good, is amazing. It happens easily. It can happen very quickly once you get the vibrational match. But what happens after? How do you embody, how do you anchor in the, like what Karen says, complete self-belief and trust and faith? You have to be held. You have to be held in a safe and transformative space by a mentor who really, really understands what's going on. And I'm going to be that for you, because I've been through all of this. I've been through all of the shame and the self-doubt, and coming from a place of deep, deep, deep scarcity, and healing my own ancestral wounds to the way now where I'm embodying the way of tea, and discovering every day how my ancestors want me to move in this beautiful journey. I can't tell you how many times, like whenever I go home to Malaysia now, like magical things happen. It's like I would discover some really ancient antique underneath the bed. Like we've never even seen this. Like I'm talking about a house that we've had lived in for like 30 years of my entire life, right? On and off, because I've been around the world, and I would never really have thought that these things would become mine one day. And these things I'm talking about are really true tea antiques, like really old tea cakes and really old teapots. Like they just started to come up. And it's like ancestors want me to have them, and it only came because the timing was right and because I was ready. And so make no mistakes, um make no mistakes. That's so funny, because there are no mistakes, really. That's what my guides are saying. But really, just be really, 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 really honest with yourself. Do I want to continue living in the wound space, or do I want to live as an empowered goddess who truly, truly owns every facade of this goddess self, including the witch of us, the witch in us, right? Because as a goddess, you are also a witch. We all need to stop shunning those sides of us. And to connect with our ancestors, you have to embody both those sides. And let me tell you this, when I did it, I actually visually, like in my entire being, I felt the 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 ships were just sailing away. The ships where it carried my ancestors, they finally were free. They could finally sail into the distance. They can finally sail to the realms where they could finally be at peace. So my work doesn't just affect myself, it also affects the future generations and my ancestors. And I want you to know it's the same for you too. Oh, Karen, thank you, my love. I want to continue to shine that beacon. I want to be a beautiful and powerful space holder, and to become more and more powerful at that, I need to come into my own darkness and to continue sharing truth from that space. Because if we don't look at those dark sides of us, it gets very, very gnarly, because we think that we need to hide away those parts of us, when the truth is that the more you hide those parts, the more of your light you're dimming. You can't hide up one part and expect the other to shine just as brightly. It doesn't work that way. Every part of you is you. And so know this, the ultimate, at least I would say the ultimate idea I want to seed in you today is that there is a way of living that doesn't require you to forgive. Because it is truly, truly here. Everything is here in your favor. Everything. And I know sometimes this can trigger people. You know, you'll be like, so you think that, so that abuse was here to be in my favor? Like I chose to be abused? I would just give you all my love. And I trust that in time you will see that yes, the truth is everything is happening in your favor, and big people chose big projects. And the bigger the project was, the bigger the person you really are here to be. So let's step into that power now. No more staying small. No more playing mum, like quieting yourself and numbing yourself with addictions and I don't know, God knows what else, right? Relationships that don't serve us anymore. I know that. I know I've been there. I've been there. You know, I've tried to numb my feelings for the longest time through anorexia. Didn't work, did it? Almost killed me. And I would never choose anything else, ever. Because honestly speaking, hand to heart today, yes, life is not, you know, peaches and roses all the time. But I want you to know that I'm absolutely happy. I'm just happy. And it's enough. I don't need to be chasing anything else. I don't need to reach another goal to be happy. I'm just happy every day. And that is my set point. And I want you to know that that is your set point too, if you choose it for you, right? And then let's go from there. Let's go create impact. Let's go create massive waves of change, because the world needs you. The world truly, truly needs your gifts and your magic. All right, my loves. I love talking here. I thought I had nothing to say today, to be honest, because I was like, my brain is a bit fuzzy from the sickness that had taken over in the past week. But before jumping on, I started to feel the spirits going all around me. I'm like, okay, I have a lot to say today. So I'm so blessed to have all of you. Thank you so much for listening today. And if you want to join me on the VIP retreat, check out the link in my bio or the link in my description box. You know, I offer payment plans as well. If you're very ready for that and you need assistance, just DM me. I just want you to know the reason why I created the VIP day is because I truly, truly, truly wanted you to just hop in. To stop making finance an excuse or a reason why you're not doing this work. And when you hop in, you open the portals to abundance, you get in more of that abundance, you're gonna reinvest. You're gonna reinvest to work with me in the Siren Goddess. That is how I'm going to see it working. But you know what? If you don't want to and you want to reinvest in a holiday in Spain, all good. That's absolutely fine. But I just want you to know that you gotta stop making finance an excuse for not doing the work. It's bullshit and it's weak. It really is. I'm just gonna put it out there. I've been there myself. I've made excuses like that for the longest time. And I sat on my ass for 2 fucking years. No more of that. I had the belief that I needed to wait. I had the belief that it needed to take time. But the minute I made the decision that it's not gonna take time, it's gonna be instantaneous, boom, magic happened. And that is how you own your power as a creatrix. Okay? Big kisses, everyone. I send you all my love and I can't wait to work with some of you. Mwah! Bye, my loves.